Hey everyone, so today's video is going to be about what it's like living in a house off campus versus living in halls. I'm Sophie and I'm a second year philosophy student. I lived in Cavendish Hall on uni campus for my first year, but this year I've moved out and I'm now living in a house with 6 other girls in London. Finding a house was so new and a little bit difficult and a little bit scary, and there's so much to think about, and it's crazy to think that we've just moved in this September and there's already people looking around and viewing it. So for those of you who are thinking about moving out of halls about now for your second year, this video might be perfect for you. So what's actually better about living in a house? Well, firstly, I get to cook and eat when I want and what I want. This is probably one of the aspects I love the most, and if you're living in halls right now, you may not be liking either some of the food choices or possibly even just the meal times are confusing you a bit. But obviously now I'm living in a house, I'm the one in charge of cooking what I want and when I want. But each of these advantages does kind of come with a bit of a disadvantage. So the disadvantage for this one is that it's very different to living in catered halls, because now when I cook and buy food, I have to think about money and budgeting more than I did last year. And you have to make time for cooking, because it's so different to halls when your food is just there and you don't have to think about cooking before you go to a lecture or cooking after a lecture or anything like that. The second thing that's better about living in a house compared to halls is that I'm living with 6 of my best friends, and I thought we knew each other well, but we've got to know each other so much more this year. And we've only been living together for like a month. It's so easy for us all to go into town together and go out together, and it's so nice living in a big group. But again, this does come with a bit of a disadvantage, because one aspect that I really loved in halls was walking around and, especially in the first week, Freshers Week, saying hi to loads of people that I didn't know, introducing myself to so many people, because you lived in a hall with like hundreds of people. Also, I really loved studying in the study room and getting to know people even halfway through the year or at the end of the year that I had never met before. I think halls just is really great on the social aspect of things. And lastly, living in a house feels way more homey. I can decorate my room more, and it just makes you feel at home when, for example, on a Tuesday night you can just sit on the sofa with your friends and the fairy lights on watching Bake Off. But again, living in a house does have a bit of a disadvantage, because when you're living here, you do have to think about bills and talking to landlords and the company that you rent off and all sorts of things that you don't have to think about living in halls. It is definitely a lot easier living in halls, because you have the support of the office downstairs or wherever the office is, and you have the laundrette there, and I feel like everything's just provided for you and there's so much support. So I miss halls a bit, but I'm so glad that I'm living out now. The two experiences are just so different. So this is my room. You can see a bit here. It's not the biggest, but it is bigger than my room in halls. Obviously it was different because I had a single bed. Now I have a double, which does take up more of the room. And I also had an ensuite, whereas now I have a shared bathroom. So as you can see, I've got my bed here and there's a couple of shelves up there. And my desk is over there, I'll show you in a second. And then my wardrobe is there, and I've got the window that's right in front of me. So I thought I'd give a mini room tour, just 10 seconds. There's my door, my shelves are above my bed here. Have my desk, then my wardrobe, my window, and then a little side table there. So I hope this video was helpful for anyone deciding whether to live in a house next year or to stay in halls. That's all from me, but if you have any tips on living in a house next year, then comment them in the comment section down below. Bye!